Lisa, my first question is just your reaction to when you heard you were going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. When did you get that call?
Boy, I tell you what, the last 12 months, I think for everybody, they've all kind of run together. So I don't know about the specifics, but it was toward the end of the year. And I was surprised, honestly. I wasn't expecting it. And I certainly wasn't expecting it this soon. I've had so many people tell me that, you go through several years of being on the ballot. And so I didn't really have my expectations up. In fact, I told my parents, I was like, look, this may never happen. So, don't think it's going to be like the Golf Hall of Fame, the Arkansas State Golf Association Hall of Fame, which I did expect to get into that. And that one wasn't a surprise. This one actually was a shock. And it's humbling. I mean, I have long admired not only a lot of the names, a lot of the men going in this class with me, but just the people who have been inducted over the years. I mean, I'm a huge Arkansas sports person. I always have been. And so to join some of those names, both men and women, it's an incredible honor.
You mentioned, and that was going to be one of my questions, was you were inducted in 2019 at the Arkansas State Golf Association Hall of Fame. You say you expect it. Why did you expect that one, but not necessarily this induction?
Well, I mean, I did a lot in my golf career pretty quickly. And then plus being the first female golfer in Razorback women's golf program history, I think probably only added to that. But, I won my first Arkansas women's state title when I was 14. It's still the youngest in state history. I ended up winning 4 of those. I didn't compete after the age of 24. I won a bunch of junior titles. So I think in the world of golf in the state of Arkansas, I had accomplished a lot and I was well known in that community. When you branch out, to the rest of athletics, I mean, I grew up playing high school basketball, and a guy who was also in my graduating class just happened to play at Russellville. His name's Corliss Williamson. And so when you think about people like Corliss and Frank Broyles and Gary Blair and Stacey Lewis, and I can go on, Nolan Richardson, to be able to be in a class with those great legends. I said this in my induction speech, and I ran into Houston Nutt a few months ago, and we were having this conversation. Of course, the first thing he said to me was about being inducted, and he just told me what a great honor it was. And here I am thinking, Coach, I watched you on the sidelines all those years. He did so much for Razorback football, and here I'm going into a Hall of Fame class that he's part of. So I guess that's why I expected it in golf, and maybe this one was a bit more of a surprise.
And you mentioned all those names. Your class is loaded, but you're the only woman in the class. How does that make you feel to be named the only woman in this class?
I think any female in sports, especially in sports media, you're used to being one of the few females. I grew up, there wasn't a high school junior girls golf team at Fayetteville High School. I played with the guys. I grew up playing with the guys. So, it doesn't feel any different, I guess. I mean, it's just an incredible honor, but I know that some great women have gone into this Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame. And so to be one of the women overall is really special.
You detailed being kind of a trailblazer in Arkansas golf. Do you view yourself as such? Do you not like to consider yourself as that?
I saw the article that Frankie Frisco wrote,
Yeah.
which, by the way, he did such a great job, and I want to thank him. And it meant a lot to my parents. Frankie's been great to me and great to the game. And that headline, I think you used the word pioneer. And so when I hear that, I think that's my mom or my grandmother. That's not me. So I think when you say trailblazer, you do feel like you're getting a little bit older, I guess, than I am. But there have been so many great trailblazers in this game, and they continue to come along. I mean, I think about the people before me, the female golfers, Martha McAllister, Pam Spikes, who I grew up admiring, Ginger Brown, who was a longtime college coach and played at Texas. Stacey Lewis is younger than me, but I think she's a trailblazer. So I think all of us doing things to elevate the sport, doing things to elevate women's golf, collectively, we're trailblazers.
You kind of touched on this earlier about being named into this class and how much being associated with these other great athletes means to you, but just being from the state and having your state recognize, hey, you're one of the best that ever came out of the natural state. What does that mean to you to be able to have that recognition from your community?
Well, Nick, I mean, anybody who knows me knows, I mean, look at me. I mean, I bleed Razorback red wherever I go. It's my prominent color, but I'm so proud to be an Arkansan. I'm incredibly proud of the Razorbacks. It's something that's hard to put into words. And look at it, I go back, I remember my first birdie I ever made, and Coach Broyles was watching at Fayetteville Country Club, and my dad had a little side bet, and Coach Broyles, you know, watched it, and he ended up being a good friend and a mentor, and he was as big a golf nerd as I was. And so I got to spend a lot of time when I was a kid with Coach Broyles playing golf. And I've long admired Coach Richardson. I still do. I love him. I have this fondness because I remember when he first came to Arkansas and the racial issues that he faced. And I still think he is one of the strongest, most admirable people because he literally changed a community and changed a state. And so I just think to all of these different things that has happened in my home state that I'm so proud of, and the strong ties that sports has and will continue to have. And look, it's like I said, the only way that I can sum it up is it really just is an incredible honor.
I gotta ask, what was that birdie that you say you remember? What was your first birdie? What was the side bet? Do you remember that?
Well, I was 8 years old, and it was at the 9th hole at Fayetteville Country Club. It's a par 3. And before the redesign, it was an even harder par 3, in my opinion, that it is now, because it had a really steep runoff on the right side. But I hit an iron shot up there. I don't remember if I was playing, I'm sure I was playing from the forward tees, but I hit it to about 20 feet. And Coach Broyles, I hadn't met him yet. And I think he was playing with Darrell Royal, the AD at Texas at the time, longtime football coach. But I think that they were on the 18th hole, and Coach Broyles kind of walked over and saw me. And my dad told me, he said, look, I'll give you $20 if you make this. This will be, I mean, that was like $1 million to me. And I rolled it in. And I remember it had some speed to it, but Coach Broyles and Coach Royal were over there clapping for me. So look, that will always be one of the highlights of my sports career. Maybe that got me into the Hall of Fame.
Do you think that's what sparked kind of, hey, I want to stick with golf?
That was the deserving nod right there.
You mentioned you're going to be staying in Orlando, not going to be able to make it. What is your message, though? And you say you recorded a speech. What's your message to the Hall of Fame if you were to be able to give that speech in person?
I think it's the same as doing it over video, although it's harder. Because you can't look at people and people can't look at you while you're doing it. But it's really the same as my Hall of Fame induction speech in 2019. I couldn't go quite as long. They do have a time limit, which for them is a smart thing to do, I think. But just simply thank you. I mean, I think that they are the most important words that we can say in life and sports, to our coaches, to our mentors, to people who helped get us where we are, is just thank you. And my list of thank you is so long. It's a lot longer than 8 minutes, but just thank you to not just the people who voted me in, but thank you to all the people in my home state who continue to support me with everything that's happening now. And I can't tell you how much love I feel from Arkansas, and I've always felt it. And for that reason, Arkansas will always be home.
You say you didn't think, and this is the last question, you didn't think you would get into this Hall of Fame, at least not so soon. You know, being a Hall of Famer now in the Golf Association and in just Arkansas sports, what's next? What do you still have left to accomplish? What's on your bucket list of things that you want to do now?
You know, I'm going through some stuff, and I'm sure it's been public with Golf Channel. And I think that what I want to do now is just really try to help affect people's lives in a positive way, no matter what it is, and to be encouraging and to let people know that they matter and their opinions matter, and to really lift people up and give them a voice, because I feel like that's what always happened to me as a young person. I feel like that there were countless people who constantly lifted me up. And I don't think that I would be where I am today. I mean, people were hard on me. Mary Frances Crutchmeyer and Joe Crutchmeyer at Fayetteville High School, longtime basketball coaches, they were hard on me, but they made me better. And I knew that they cared about me. And I think that whatever the way that I can be able to do that for other women, for other young people, for other men, anybody who may be going through something, or they just need a voice. They need to be lifted up. I don't know exactly what that is. I'm trying to figure it out, but I had it so much when I was growing up. And I think it propelled me into these halls of fame because of that. And I want to be able to give that back.